Hey everyone. Before we dive into today's story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from and what time it is there. It really helps YouTube recommend more stories like this one to you. All right, let's jump right in.
The second I saw the message pop up, I knew something was wrong. Nice steering wheel. Is that a new air freshener? I was still walking back to my car, still holding the damn delivery bag. I froze on the sidewalk, wind brushing cold against the back of my neck like a hand. I stared at the message. My thumb hovered over the screen. I didn't move. There was no way this guy could see the inside of my car. No way he should even know what kind of air freshener I had. I parked a block away. Not right in front of his house, because honestly, the place gave me weird vibes. It was a dim, sagging one-story with a porch light that flickered like it was struggling to stay alive. Every house on that street looked like it had a secret. Like if you knocked too loud, someone would answer with a shovel. I remember glancing up at his place. Curtains drawn. No lights. Looked empty, quiet. But then I got that text. I took a breath and turned slowly toward the car. It was maybe 60 feet away. Just sitting there under a busted street lamp, exactly how I left it. No broken windows. No doors open. But I swear to God, I felt eyes on me, watching from inside. I started walking faster, gripping the food tighter like it could protect me or something. Every step made me feel heavier, like I was getting pulled towards something I couldn't see. When I got to the car, I didn't open the door right away. I stood next to it, listening. Nothing. Just the sound of my own heart pounding in my ears. I crouched down and checked under the car. Empty. Looked in the back seat through the windows. Nothing there. No one hiding. I finally opened the door and sat down, locking it the second I was inside. Another message buzzed through. Thought you were supposed to leave it at the door. My mouth went dry. I hadn't even dropped the food yet. I looked at the bag still in my lap. Still sealed. Still full. Another message. You're taking too long. I hate when drivers hang around. I opened the DoorDash app. Double-checked the address. Contactless delivery. Leave at front door. Instructions matched. I hadn't even walked up to the door yet. This guy was watching me the whole time. Knew I parked away. Knew I hesitated. But the part that made my stomach flip, he knew what was in my car before I got there, that I dropped the food off like I was defusing a bomb. Set it down gently, took the dumb little picture for proof, and half jogged back to the car. Didn't even wait for another message. Just started the engine and peeled off. I made it 2 blocks before I pulled over, heart slamming so hard I felt dizzy. I scrolled back through the messages. Tried to click the number. Blocked. It was already marked unknown. I reported it through the app. Wrote a whole paragraph explaining what happened. The support bot just hit me back with, "Thanks for your feedback. We'll review this case shortly." Shortly, right? I checked my back seat one more time. Still empty. Still clean. I was trying to shake it off. Like maybe he was just some messed up tech dude with a hidden camera or a drone or something. But I couldn't figure out how. And then I remembered the smell. I hadn't noticed it at first, because I'd just done a Chipotle run before this. But now that I was parked again, windows rolled up, it hit me. It wasn't burritos. It wasn't food. It smelled like breath. Hot, stale breath. Like someone had been sitting in the car for hours. And it was strongest in the back seat. I drove home fast. Windows down, music loud, every couple seconds glancing in the rear view. Pulled into my lot, parked under the floodlight, locked up, went inside. I didn't even shower. I just sat on the couch, holding my phone, waiting. Nothing happened. No calls, no knocks, no more messages. But the next morning, I found a receipt tucked under my windshield wiper. It wasn't from DoorDash. It wasn't even recent. It was old, yellowed, crumpled, like it had been sitting in a wallet for years. Item: delivery Route 17 tip. 1 passenger. Unpaid. Signature. Blank. It didn't have a name. But the back of the receipt had a phone number written in pen. The last 4 digits were the same as the guy who texted me. I called the cops. They sent someone out, mostly to humor me. I get it. Nothing technically happened. But I showed them the texts, the receipt, the instructions from the app. The cop, some tired guy with raccoon eyes and coffee breath, looked at the receipt and actually frowned. This address. You sure it's where you dropped off? Yeah, 1114 Sycamore Lane. Why? He glanced back at the paper, then at me. That house has been empty since 2019. I stared at him. What? He nodded slowly. Family moved out after a fire. Nobody lives there. The cop's words didn't sink in at first. Empty since 2019. I kept repeating it in my head like maybe it would start making sense. I dropped a delivery there last night. I said. Someone ordered. Someone texted me. Someone was watching. The cop just shrugged like he'd already decided I was overreacting. Well, if someone was in there, they weren't supposed to be. He handed the receipt back like it was just trash and walked off. No report, no investigation, no warning. I drove home with the receipt sitting on the passenger seat, staring at me like a dare. I kept catching myself glancing at it. The edges were browned like they'd been near fire. The ink was faded except for the phone number. That part was dark bold, like it was written recently. I told myself to throw it out. I didn't. That night, I checked my car twice before driving. Nothing in the back seat. Nothing in the trunk. No smell. For a second, I let myself breathe. Maybe it was just a messed up prank. Maybe someone squatted in that burned house. I took a few normal deliveries. Tacos, boba tea, a midnight grocery drop. Nothing weird. Then, around 1:17 a.m., my phone buzzed. New order. Sycamore Lane address. 1114 Sycamore Lane, same house. Same street. Same dead porch light in my mind. I froze with the phone still glowing in my hand. This wasn't random. The app wasn't glitching. I knew, deep in my gut, someone was choosing me on purpose. I hit decline so fast my thumb stung. But before the screen could fade, another message came in. You forgot something. No number. No contact entry. Just those 3 words, like someone whispering beside my ear. Immediately, a weight pressed against my chest. My heart dropped like a stone. Forgot what? I didn't reply. I tossed my phone onto the passenger seat, like it burned. But then I noticed something in the rearview mirror. Something on the back seat. Something I swear wasn't there before. A piece of folded paper. My stomach tightened hard. I turned slowly, hands shaking. The paper sat perfectly centered on the seat. Like someone placed it gently. Like someone thought I'd miss it if it was anywhere else. I reached back and grabbed it with 2 fingers, afraid to touch too much of it. Same yellow paper. Same faded texture, but this one had something new. Drop-off complete. Passenger still on board. I couldn't breathe. I threw the car in park, climbed out, and bent over in the cold air. My breath's coming out fast and foggy. Someone had been inside my car again. I drove home with every window cracked just to stay awake. Keep alert. Every shadow on the sidewalk looked like a person. Every parked car looked like it was watching me. When I finally made it to my apartment, I practically sprinted upstairs. I triple locked the door, closed every window, turned on every light. My phone buzzed again. I flinched so hard, I dropped it. Another message. Check your trunk. My throat closed. No way. I wasn't going out there. I wasn't going near that car again tonight. I forced myself to breathe. In the morning, I whispered. I'll check in the morning with people around. I turned the phone off and shoved it. under a pillow like a kid hiding from monsters, but sleep didn't come. I kept hearing subtle sounds beneath me, like a soft knocking, like something in my car tapping from the inside, or trying to get out. By morning, the knocking stopped. Sunlight made everything seem less like a nightmare and more like paranoia. I grabbed my keys and went down with the confidence of daylight behind me. The lot was quiet. Too quiet. Only my car, sitting in its usual spot, except the trunk was slightly open. Not wide. Just an inch. Just enough to let something crawl out. Or breathe. My hands felt numb, but I forced myself closer. The paint around the latch had scratches. Fresh ones. Like fingernails dragging. I swallowed hard, lifted the trunk fully, and nothing. Just the spare tire. A jumper cable. The emergency kit. No person. No animal. No intruder. But there was something new. A phone. Old. Black. Screen cracked. Battery warped. Like someone dug it out of a grave. It buzzed in my hand the moment I touched it. Even though it shouldn't have been able to power on. A text appeared on the shattered screen. Ride started. Buckle up. I dropped the phone instantly. It clattered onto the pavement. I backed away. Fast. Too fast. My foot caught the curb behind me, and I fell hard on my elbow. Pain shot up to my shoulder. I didn't care. I left the phone on the ground, climbed into my car, and sped out of the lot like something was chasing me. I didn't do any deliveries for the rest of the week. Didn't even open the app, but the texts didn't stop. Blocked. Unblocked. New numbers. No numbers. It didn't matter. Passenger waiting. You skipped a stop. I'm in the back. Don't look. Every time I got one, I checked. Every time, the back seat was empty. But it didn't feel empty. There were moments, at stoplights, in traffic while parking, when I could swear someone exhaled behind me. A slow, steady breath that lifted the hairs on my neck. The smell came back too. Not strong. Just enough to rot the air. That hot, stale breath smell. Like someone lived in my car. Like someone never really left. The breaking point came. Thursday night. I woke up to my car alarm blaring. My heart slammed against my ribs. I threw on shoes and ran outside, thinking it was a break-in, a vandal. Anything normal. But when I reached the car, the alarm cut off. The doors unlocked on their own. Interior lights flicked on, and the back seat someone was sitting there. Still. Upright. Like they'd just been waiting. I couldn't see a face. Just a dark shape. Shoulders hunched forward. Hands on their knees. Breathe. I froze and forced myself to blink. Just once, when my eyes opened again, the back seat was empty. Totally empty. Lights still on. Doors still open. I don't remember walking back to my apartment. I don't remember locking the door or collapsing onto the floor. But I do remember the message that came 5 minutes later. Stop letting me out. The next day, I tried to get answers from DoorDash support again, after hours of calls and emails. I finally got a human supervisor. She pulled up the order history. Said she'd check the account that placed the original order. There was a long silence on her end. Too long. Sir, she said carefully, the customer who placed that order. The account belongs to a driver. A driver? My voice cracked. Double quotes. Yes. The account is tied to someone named Evan R. He worked as a driver in your area. Did, I corrected, without knowing why. Another silence. Actually, yes, did is correct. He went missing 2 years ago. Last location pinged was... Hang on, more typing. I griped the phone so tightly it creaked. 1114 Sycamore Lane. The room tilted. My knees went weak. Sorry, I stammered. His last location was the burned house? No, she said softly. His last delivery. He never completed it. The app showed a final note before his account auto-closed. A whisper. I had to strain to hear. It said, passengers still on board. I don't drive anymore. I can't. I quit the app. Sold the car. Moved apartments. Changed numbers. But some nights when the air gets heavy, when my room feels smaller, when I smell something hot and stale, my phone buzzes. No caller ID. Just one message. Ride's not over. And if I listen hard, really hard, I can hear breathing behind me. Slow, steady, patient. Waiting for me to check the back seat again. The second he opened the door and said, "Just leave it inside," I knew I shouldn't have taken the order. There was something wrong with his voice, calm but too calm, no eye contact. Just stood there barefoot, one hand on the doorframe, the other dangling at his side like he didn't remember how to use it. Everything about the house was off. No lights on, just the dim hallway behind him. The porch light buzzed like it hadn't been replaced in years. And the smell. It hit me the second he cracked the door. Not like trash or food. Like bleach. Too much bleach, sharp and sterile. Trying too hard to hide something else. I didn't step inside. "Sorry," I said, holding out the delivery bag like a peace offering. "App says contactless. I'll just leave it here." But he didn't move. Didn't blink. Didn't even look at the bag. I said. He repeated. Softly this time. "Just leave it inside." He took one slow step backward into the shadows. The door stayed open. And now I was just standing there, frozen, staring into this barely lit hallway while my phone chimed. "Complete your delivery." My gut was screaming. Every hair on my arms was up. But then I looked at the order again. $17 payout, plus a $50 cash tip listed in the notes. And I was broke. Bills due. Tank nearly empty. Rent coming up. So I told myself, just a few steps inside, drop the bag, bounce. He wasn't blocking the door anymore. Just a shape in the hallway now, fading into shadow. I stepped over the threshold. The smell got worse instantly. Not just bleach anymore. Something underneath it. Something sweet, sickly, like rotting fruit or old meat that had been sprayed with air freshener. It clung to the back of my throat. "Where do you want me to?" I asked, voice tight. But he was gone. Not just out of sight. Gone. No footsteps. No creaking floorboards. Just ... Empty hallway, with a single yellow light bulb flickering at the far end. I should have turned around right then. Dropped the bag and left. But I hesitated. The silence in that house was the wrong kind of silence. Not peaceful. Not quiet. It felt held. Like something was waiting to exhale. I set the bag down on the entry table and reached for the doorknob. It wouldn't. Turned. Locked. From the inside. My stomach dropped. I jiggled it harder. Still locked. No visible bolt. No latch. Just that cheap brass knob, suddenly stuck like someone had glued it in place. "Hey!" I called out, louder now. "Door's stuck." No answer. I turned back toward the hallway. Still empty. But now there was a sound. Click. Not loud, sharp, metal on metal. I stepped toward it before I even thought. 3 steps down the hallway. Peered left. There was a narrow side room with the door slightly ajar. Old carpet. No furniture. Just a single folding chair facing the corner. Something was resting on it. A plate. Same food I just delivered. Still untouched. My heart kicked. He had already received this food. That made no sense. I had the order. I brought it in. The seal was still on the bag. So why was the same meal sitting cold on a plate in the next room? I backed away slowly. "Sir?" I called again, louder this time. If this is some kind of joke, another click. Louder, behind me. I spun around. The entry table, where I left the bag, was empty. Food gone. But the door was still shut. No footsteps. No sound of someone moving. Just that thick silence pressing in again. I pulled out my phone. No signal, not even Wi-Fi. Just a black SOS symbol where my bars should be. I started walking fast, back to the door. Trying it again, harder this time. Nothing. I was trapped. Panic started creeping in, the tight throat, the cold sweat, the sudden urge to run with nowhere to go. "All right," I said, trying to stay calm. "I'm leaving. Call the cops if you've got a problem." No response. So I followed the hallway deeper, trying to find another exit. That's when I noticed the walls. They weren't normal. Not smooth drywall. Covered in weird textures. Like patchwork, uneven, slightly bulging in places. I ran my hand over one out of curiosity. Soft. Too soft. Like, under the wallpaper was something padded. Or stuffed. I pulled my hand back fast and kept walking. At the end of the hallway was a kitchen. Old appliances. Yellow tile. And everything too clean. Like scrubbed so hard it left scratches in the metal. But no back door. No side door. No windows even. Just a weird old dumbwaiter built into the wall. I walked over, opened the latch, and looked inside. A small square compartment, empty, with a faded rope pulley system. Looked like it hadn't been used in decades. There was something scratched into the wood on the inside panel. A single word, "Stay." I backed away. This wasn't a prank. This wasn't some quirky old guy with bad manners. Something was wrong with this house. Wrong with this whole delivery. I walked back into the hall, faster this time, and finally noticed a door to the right. Not the front. Not the kitchen, a basement door. It was wide open now. Wasn't earlier. And from the darkness below, I could hear it breathing, loud. Not close. Just deep, steady, too deliberate to be human. Each breath came with a faint wheeze, like something sick trying to stay quiet. I backed up. Slow. And right then, my phone buzzed. 1 bar. Just enough. I opened the DoorDash app, praying I could contact support or hit the emergency button. The app had glitched. My active delivery was still marked as in progress, except the customer name had changed. It no longer said Derek S. Now it said, "No exit." I froze. The timer was stuck at 0 o'clock, like I'd never started the drop-off. Like I'd never even arrived. Then a push notification appeared. Delivered to basement. The second I saw that notification, deliver to basement, my whole body locked up. I stared at the screen, willing it to go away. Willing this to all be some sick app bug or prank. But the message just sat there, pulsing like a heartbeat. The only button on screen now was confirm basement drop-off, no back arrow. No home button. Just that dot, and underneath it, in tiny faded text, "Don't keep him waiting." I looked up from my phone, and the hallway felt different now. Colder, longer. The walls weren't just textured anymore. They were bulging. Pulsing subtly like something was behind them. Shifting just out of sight. The basement door was still wide open, still breathing, and it sounded closer now. Like whoever was down there had crept up a few steps. Each breath came with a creak of a stair. Slow, deliberate, dragging. I took one shaky step back, and something behind me snapped, not loudly. Just a faint pop, like a knuckle cracking. I turned fast, and there, at the other end of the hall, was the folding chair from earlier. Only now it was facing me. And the plate on it? Gone, replaced by something else. A photo. I couldn't help myself. I stepped toward it slowly, legs shaking. Picked up the picture with 2 fingers. It was me. Taken tonight. Standing in the doorway with the delivery bag in my hand. I never saw a flash. Never saw a camera. But someone, or something, had taken it from inside the house. There was writing on the back in sharp black ink, "You're next." That broke me. I ran. Didn't care how loud my footsteps were. Didn't care who heard. I ran back to the front door and slammed into it with everything I had. Still locked. I yanked on the knob until my hands burned. Pounded the wood, Scream. No one outside. No. Footsteps. Just the sound of that breathing, growing louder behind me. Closer now. Wet. Like someone gasping through a broken throat. I turned. Heart hammering. And there, halfway up the basement stairs, was a hand. Long fingers curled over the railing. Skin pale, cracked. Nails dark and broken. Then another hand gripped the other side of the stairwell, and a head rose, slowly into view. But not a face. It was wrapped tightly in what looked like a thick mesh bag or gauze. Like someone had sealed it shut. No eyes, no mouth. Just that wheezing breath leaking out from somewhere inside. It stood like it was testing the air. Like it hadn't been upstairs in years. And now it was tasting the hallway again. I bolted toward the kitchen, only room left. Slid across the tile, scanning for a weapon, an exit, anything. Then I remembered the dumbwaiter. I dropped to my knees and yanked it open. Still empty. Still tight. Maybe big enough to crouch inside. I didn't hesitate. I crawled in, pulled the door shut behind me, and curled my legs up to my chest. Barely fit. My knees pressed to my chin. It smelled like dust and old rope and something older. Darkness swallowed me whole. Outside, the breathing kept getting closer. Then the footsteps. Then the creak of the kitchen floor. I held my breath. Everything in me screamed to not make a sound. A slow scrape of something across the tiles. Then, tapped out right outside the dumbwaiter door. I covered my mouth. My heartbeat felt like a drum. Tap. Tap. Then silence. Then a whisper. Just leave it inside. I must have blacked out for a few seconds. When I opened my eyes again, there was no more sound. Just stillness. I reached for my phone. Barely able to move in the cramped space. The screen lit up. A new notification. Delivery complete. Thank you. Below that, tip received, 1 soul. My stomach flipped. I shoved the phone away and reached for the latch, but I stopped because there was something inside the dumbwaiter with me now, something soft. Touching my ankle, I looked down slowly. Couldn't see much, but it was warm. And breathing. I lost it. Kicked, screamed, slammed the door open and tumbled out onto the kitchen floor. The dumbwaiter stayed open behind me. Black and hollow. Empty now. I scrambled up, heart about to rip out of my chest. Then I saw it. The back door. It hadn't been there earlier. It was cracked open now. Moonlight pouring through like a gift from God. I didn't even think. Just ran. Out, through the yard, across the dirt and weeds. Didn't stop until I was 6 blocks away, gasping on someone's lawn with my socks soaked in dew. I didn't call anyone. Didn't even go home. Just walked until the sun came up, then waited at a gas station until a friend picked me up. A week later, I couldn't take it. I had to go back. Had to see if the house was still there, if it was real. I drove to the address during the day. There was nothing, just an empty lot, dirt, foundation rubble, weeds. No house, no door, no bleach smell. I asked the neighbor across the street if he knew what happened. He blinked like I was stupid. There's never been a house there, he said. That lot's been empty since the 80s. City's been trying to sell it for decades. So what did I go inside? Where did I deliver that food? And who? Or what? Told me to leave it inside? I don't take night deliveries anymore. Or cash tips. Or weird instructions. And sometimes on the quietest nights, I still get that same order request from no exit. Same $50 tip. Same address that doesn't exist. And no matter how many times I decline it. The app always responds the same. Order accepted. You're already inside. The third time my GPS rerouted me to that damn farmhouse on Route 83. I should have listened to my gut and logged off for the night. But money was tight, and it was an easy order. Just one bag of groceries to a small address way out past town. The kind of place people move to when they don't want to be found. I've been there twice before. Same customer. Same note. Deliver to back door. Do not knock. Weird, yeah, but whatever. The tits were huge. And the drive wasn't bad, at least until the road started to disappear. That's not me being dramatic, I mean it literally. Route 83 was paved and clean for the first 20 minutes, but once I passed the old train crossing, the lane markings started to vanish, then the streetlights, then the cell signal, until I was driving through what looked like a tunnel of trees, tall, heavy oaks pressing in from both sides, like the road was being swallowed. My headlights bounced off fog. My tires thumped over cracks I couldn't see. The GPS turned to gray. Just a spinning circle and the words, rerouting, rerouting. Every time, when I pulled up to the house, it was just as I remembered. 2 stories, roof sagging, paint peeling in long vertical strips, porch half collapsed, no lights. No signs of life, except for the wind chime. That thing was always swinging, always making this high, delicate sound that didn't match the rusted metal. Like it was singing to something. I left the car running, slid the groceries out of the passenger seat, and crunched across the gravel path. Don't know why I kept glancing at the woods, but I swear, the trees here leaned in a little more every visit, like they were listening or waiting. I walked around the back, holding my breath like always, expecting to see the door cracked open, but it wasn't. This time, the door was wide open, and someone was standing inside. They didn't move, didn't speak, just stood a few feet into the dark hallway, backlit by a dim yellow bulb swinging from a cord. I couldn't make out much. Just a long coat, bare feet, head tilted like they were listening for something far away. I froze. Normally, no one was ever there. Last 2 times, I left the groceries on a little bench by the door. Took the photo, left. This felt wrong. I held up the bag like a shield. Delivery for 729 Route 83? The figure didn't answer, didn't nod, didn't even blink. Just turned. Slowly, like moving through water. And walked deeper into the house, back toward the hall. Still barefoot, still silent, until they were out of sight. I should have left. I know that, but something stopped me. That eerie slowness. That look in their posture. Like they'd been expecting me, but not for groceries. And then I noticed it. The same bag of groceries I delivered last time. Still sitting on the bench. Untouched. Rotting. I leaned closer. Apples soft and sunken. Lettuce slimy. Milk bloated and yellowed. It had been weeks, and no one had moved it. Yet someone just walked through that door. I dropped the new bag next to the old one and took out my phone to snap the delivery photo. But the screen stayed black. Dead. Even though it was fully charged. When I left the gas station, I hit the power button. Nothing. Held it. Still nothing. Then from deep inside the house a voice, raspy, female. Not the figure I saw. It said one word, sharp and clear, wait. I turned, heart slamming. Nobody behind me. The door was still open. Light flickering gently. Hello. I called out, already taking a step back. No answer. But I could hear the house settling. Floorboards, shifting like someone heavy was walking room to room. But not fast, just pacing, in a slow, steady circle. I backed up toward my car, eyes never leaving that doorway. But then I heard the voice again, closer. You've been here before. This time, it was a whisper. Right beside my ear, I dropped the phone. Spun around, nothing, just the woods, still. Watching, I grabbed the phone from the dirt and bolted to the car, slammed the door. Locked it. Threw it into drive and peeled down the road like I was being chased. Which, in a way, I was. Because in the rearview mirror, the house was different. It looked new. Clean paint, glass windows, a porch light glowing steady and soft. And someone standing on the porch. Not the same figure. This one was smiling. Waving. Like I was leaving too early. I told myself I wouldn't go back. After that night, I removed Route 83 from my delivery radius. Even changed my DoorDash profile to no rural orders. Didn't matter. 2 weeks later, the same order came through. Same name, same house, same payout. Only now it was marked as priority, repeated non-completion. And next to the tip field, in red text, it said, owed. I stared at the screen way too long. My hands were sweating. I shouldn't have accepted it, but the app wouldn't let me decline. The decline button was grayed out. Frozen. The only option left? Continue. I should have just turned off the phone. Deleted the app. Left town, but I tapped it. And the second I did, the screen flashed white. Then just one word appeared. Welcome back. Route 83 looked worse this time. Road thinner. Trees closer. Like the path had been tightening in my absence. And once I passed the old train crossing, I noticed something that made my chest go ice cold. There were no tire tracks. No debris, no animals. Just perfectly smooth dirt. Like no one had driven here in years. But my GPS, fully working now, showed I was exactly where I needed to be. As I pulled up to the house, I slammed the brakes, because this time, the house wasn't there. I blinked, leaned forward. Heart in my throat. Nothing. Just tall grass, trees, open land. I drove forward a little more, thinking maybe I missed the turn. But the GPS blipped and then corrected me, back toward the empty clearing. Arrived. It said cheerfully. Then my phone buzzed with a text. No contact. No number. Just you're late. My fingers tingled. My ears rang. I put the car in reverse, ready to floor it out of there. Thud. I slammed the brakes. Something had hit the back of the car. Not a branch. Not a bump. Something heavy. Solid. I turned slowly in my seat to look. The house was there, right behind me. Right where I had just driven through. Back to its rotted version again. Sagging roof, cracked windows. The wind chimed singing its eerie tune. And something was sitting on the porch. A bag of groceries. My groceries. My exact order from tonight, with my own handwriting on the receipt. I hadn't even gotten out of the car yet. I don't remember unlocking the door. Don't remember walking up the steps. But suddenly, I was standing in front of that bag. And the porch door swung open before I could knock. The same figure stood there. Long coat. Bare feet. Same heavy silence, but this time, they held something out. A photo. My car. Parked. Right now. But the passenger seat was occupied. Someone was inside. Turned to run, but the porch was gone. The road behind me was gone. Just trees. Endless. Thick. Black. Like I'd stepped off the map completely. I spun back toward the house and saw my reflection in the window. Only it wasn't me. It was the figure. In the same clothes I was wearing. Same posture. Only their eyes were stitched shut. I don't remember screaming, but I know I did. I ran back toward where the road should have been, crashing through the brush. Thorns slashed at my arms. Branches grabbed my coat. Finally, I stumbled onto pavement again. Flat, smooth. Not Route 83. Just ... Some road, no markings. No signs. I kept walking. Hours maybe. My legs ached. My vision blurred. Eventually, I made it to a gas station. Collar County. The sign said, that's 3 towns over, and no one had even heard of Route 83. I told the cops everything. They didn't believe me. Said there's no house out there. No road by that name. That maybe I had a heat stroke. A breakdown. But 2 things still haunt me. When I checked my car the next day, there was a receipt tucked under the seat. It was printed in reverse, like it came from a broken machine. But I could still read the words. Drop complete. New driver selected. The app hasn't let me log out since. Every time I open it, there's one active delivery. Same customer, and the address just says Route 83, drivin' to Lost. It was my last delivery of the night, or at least it was supposed to be. Rain had just started coming down hard. That heavy, slanted kind that makes headlights useless. I was soaked from the knees down, just praying for the tip to be decent so I could grab some fast food and go home. That's when I saw him, standing at the edge of a strip mall parking lot, under a flickering street lamp. No umbrella, no phone, just standing perfectly still in the downpour, like he wasn't even aware he was getting wet. At first, I thought he might be homeless or just looking for shelter, but he didn't move, didn't twitch, didn't even glance up when I drove past. Then he turned, not toward me, just slightly, like he'd heard something behind him, and that's when I saw his face, expressionless, mouth slightly open, and eyes unfocused, like he wasn't looking at anything in particular, but still somehow knew I was watching him. I kept driving. Had a delivery to drop off a few blocks down, burgers and fries. But when I got to the address, the house was dark. Porch light off. No car in the driveway. Weird, but not unheard of. I double-checked the app. Right address, right time. I snapped the proof photo, marked it complete, turned back to the car, and froze. The man from the parking lot? He was standing across the street. Same posture. Same blank stare. No phone. No food. No reason to be there. He hadn't followed me. He couldn't have. But there he was. I got in the car fast and locked the doors. The next 30 minutes were quiet. I did 2 more runs on the west side of town, both uneventful. The man was gone from my mind until I pulled up to the next stop. Same story. Small house. No lights, leave it at the door instructions, except when I stepped out of the car and turned to grab the bag. He was standing at the end of the driveway. Closer now, soaking wet. Head tilted slightly like he was listening. Hands at his sides, fingers twitching every few seconds. I yelled out, something like, "Do you need help?" Or, "Can I call someone?" No response. Just the sound of rain and my own pulse pounding in my ears. I put the bag down on the porch, turned back, and he was gone. Just gone, like he'd never been there. I didn't take any more deliveries that night. I drove home, checking my mirrors every block, convinced I'd see him again, but I didn't. Not until the next day. The first sign something was off came around noon. I logged into the app like always and saw a new priority customer pinned to the top of my screen. No name. No profile picture. Just a short note in the special instructions. He doesn't place orders. He chooses the driver. I tapped it, thinking it was some kind of glitch or scam. Instead of a menu, it opened a GPS map. But the destination was blank. No address. No route. Just a single word glowing on the screen. Near. I stared at the screen. Near. No address. No customer name. Just a blinking dot on the map, slowly pulsing like a heartbeat. It was close. A few blocks away. Maybe less. My instinct said shut it down. Log off. Go home. But the app wouldn't close. Every time I tried, it froze. Then popped right back to the same screen. Near. And the tip amount kept going up. $10, then $25, then $50. It just kept rising. Like the longer I hesitated, the more desperate it became. Or maybe, the closer he got, I put the phone down, turned off the ignition, sat in silence. But something was building in the air around me. That pressure you feel before a storm, where everything gets heavy and still. Then, I heard it. 3 slow knocks. Not on my door, on the car window. I whipped my head to the side. And there he was. The man, standing outside my driver's side window. Soaking wet, still, expressionless. Up close, he looked worse. His skin was too pale, like paper left in the sun. His lips were chapped and slightly parted, like he was mid-breath, but never finished exhaling, and his eyes, they weren't blank. They were exhausted, like he hadn't slept in years, like he'd been walking for days with nowhere to go, and he finally found me. He didn't speak, just lifted one hand and pointed at the passenger seat. I didn't move. His finger curled, beckoning. He wanted me to open the door. I should have driven off. I should have hit reverse and peeled out of there. But IDN single quotes D. Something about the way he looked at me. Not like a threat. Not like prey. More like a mirror. Like he recognized something in me. Like he'd been me once. I unlocked the door. It clicked louder than it should have. He didn't hesitate. Just walked around the car, opened the passenger side, and sat down. No sound. No water dripping. No scent. He just settled in like he belonged there. I stared straight ahead. Neither of us spoke. Then, the app buzzed again. A new message. Route started. I looked down. A new destination had appeared on the map, but it didn't list an address. Just one word. Home. I looked at him, still silent. Still soaked. Still staring forward. Where? Where is home? I asked, voice barely above a whisper. He didn't answer. But my hands were already on the wheel. My foot already moving to the gas, and I drove. The roads blurred. Streets I didn't recognize. Buildings that looked abandoned or wrong. Streetlights blinking in patterns that didn't feel random. I don't remember how long we drove. Every so often, I'd glance at him. He never moved. Never blinked. Just watched the road ahead like he was waiting to arrive. Eventually, we turned onto a narrow road lined with thick trees. No lights, no signs. The GPS said nothing. The phone screen had gone dark, and then we stopped because the road ended. Just a wall of fog ahead. Thick, pale, impossible to see through. I turned to him. My heart in my throat. He finally looked at me, tilted his head. Then he smiled. Just a little. Just enough. And opened the door. He stepped out into the fog, disappearing almost immediately. No footsteps. No shadow. Gone. I sat there for a long time. Too afraid to follow. Too afraid to turn back. Eventually, the app updated one final time. Delivery complete. Thank you for your service. And underneath that, there's always another seat. I quit delivery work that night. Deleted the app. Got a different phone. Moved to a new place. New job. But sometimes when I'm parked somewhere late at night, I still feel it. A presence beside me. Like someone's in the car. Not moving. Not asking for anything. Just watching. Waiting for me to start driving again. And every now and then, when I check the rearview mirror, I see a wet handprint slowly fading from the inside of the window. It was the biggest tip I ever got. $500 on a $28 Thai food order. No instructions. No leave at the door. Just an actual cash tip, folded crisp bills in an envelope. With my name on it. I should have felt lucky, grateful, but all I felt was watched. The house was in a gated part of town I'd never delivered to before. Not fancy in a McMansion way. More like sterile. Too clean. All white walls, black tile, weirdly symmetrical landscaping. It didn't even look lived in. I rang the doorbell. A camera blinked above me. Then a voice, sharp and calm, buzzed through the intercom. You may leave it on the chair. I looked down. A single white leather chair on the porch. Not a table. Not a bench. I set the bag down carefully. The voice spoke again. Wait. I froze. Footsteps clicked behind the door. Then it creaked open. But only an inch. A hand reached out, pale, thin fingers with dark red nails, and placed an envelope on top of the food bag. Then the door closed. No face. No words. Just that eerie, mechanical thank you that the app sends automatically a few minutes later. I sat in my car for a full minute before touching the envelope. Something about the way the hand moved. Deliberate. Almost like she'd done it hundreds of times. I opened it expecting a $5 bill or maybe a thank you card. Instead, it was all 100s, 5 of them. Perfectly flat, like they'd come from a bank vault. No note. I immediately thought, this is a mistake, or worse, a trap. I drove home in a fog. Didn't stop for gas. Didn't finish my shift. Just kept feeling like the money in my glove box was radioactive. The next morning, I reported it to DoorDash support. Told them I got a massive cash tip. Wasn't sure if it was intentional. They brushed it off. We don't track off-app transactions. Congrats on your earnings. When I asked for the customer's name so I could try returning it, the agent told me, there's no customer account for that address. I paused. What does that mean? The agent took a moment before replying. That address was flagged 2 months ago. Multiple drivers complained about strange behavior. The account tied to it has been deactivated. So how did I get the order? Another pause. That's not supposed to happen. Let me escalate. The chat disconnected. App glitched. Logged me out. That night I got another delivery ping from the same address. No customer name. No food listed. Just this message in the notes. She tipped you $500. You owe her the rest. I didn't accept it. Didn't even hesitate. But the message still popped up on my screen every few hours. I blocked notifications. Uninstalled the app. It didn't matter. Every time I restarted my phone, the same message returned. Different wording. Same threat. She paid in full. You still haven't delivered. The balance is due. You were inside her house longer than you think. That last one sent chills down my spine. Because I hadn't gone inside, right? I tried to tell myself I was imagining things until I saw the footage. I didn't even know my dashcam was still recording. I'd installed it months ago for insurance, but it rarely saved footage unless I flagged it manually. Still, something told me to check it. So I did. Pulled the SD card. Loaded it on my laptop and watched the delivery from the night before. At first, everything was normal. Me parking, grabbing the bag, walking to the house. Then things got weird. The footage skipped. 1 second I was placing the food on the porch, standing like an idiot while that mechanical voice told me to wait. Next second, it was dark outside, and I was walking back to the car, envelope in hand. I blinked and rewound the file, heart pounding. There was a 12-minute gap. 12 minutes gone. No corruption. No freeze, just cut, like someone had edited it perfectly. And when I zoomed in, frame by frame, just before the skip, I saw something that made my skin crawl. The door behind me was open wider than I remembered, and 2 pale hands were reaching for my shoulders. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every sound in my apartment felt too sharp. Refrigerator humming, pipes knocking, the faint whir of my box fan. I kept seeing those hands in my mind. And that envelope sitting in my glove box, still untouched. Like it was waiting for me to make a decision, around 3:08 a.m. My phone lit up. Even though it was on airplane mode. A new push notification. Tomorrow, 9 p.m. Back door. No sender. No app label. Just those words, hovering in the middle of my lock screen like a warning. And beneath it, a countdown started ticking down from 24 hours. I didn't want to go. Didn't plan to. But as the next day wore on, I felt something pulling at me. Not guilt. Something heavier. Like I'd opened a door, and whatever was on the other side had seen me. By 8:45 p.m. I was already in my car. By 8:58. I was back in that neighborhood. And at exactly 9 o'clock, I was standing at the back door. The house was silent. No lights. No motion sensors. No flickering porch cam like last time. just a faint light glowing behind a curtain in one upstairs window. The back door creaked open before I could knock Dot, and this time, she stepped out. No more mystery. No hidden hand. She was tall, thin, white hair tied back in a silk ribbon. Her skin was pale like melted wax. Lips red, eyes dark. Not black, just impossibly tired. She didn't say anything, just looked at me, Dot, and then pointed inside. I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. I should have run, but my feet crossed the threshold on their own. The interior was wrong, bigger than it should have been. Endless hallway stretching far past what the house's layout could allow. Rooms branching off into darkness. Mirrors where there shouldn't be mirrors. And everything smelled like lavender and bleached. Dot, she led me wordlessly to a long dining table with a single chair. A silver tray sat in front of it, covered. I looked at her. She nodded once. I sat down. Lifted the lid. Dot, inside was my own phone. But not the one in my pocket. Dot, it was dead. Screen shattered. Flickering with a faint image. Dot, it was a paused video. I pressed play. Dot, it was me. Dot, sitting in this same chair, but my face was slack. My eyes rolled back. Her hands were on my temples, gently turning my head side to side like she was inspecting something. Then she leaned in and whispered something into my ear, and the video glitched. Dot, suddenly, the room around me flickered. The walls pulsed, and I could feel her inside my head like she wasn't in front of me anymore. She was behind my eyes. I stood up so fast the chair clattered over, but the room had changed again. Dot, no more table. Dot, no more woman. Dot, just mirrors. Dozens of them. Dot, and in each reflection, I was a little different. Dot, in one, my skin was cracked. In another, my eyes were missing. In the last, I was smiling, wide and glassy eyed. Dot, then all the mirrors shattered at once, and the house was silent again. Don't remember leaving. I just remember waking up in my car, parked outside my own apartment. Windshield cracked. The envelope back in my lap, but now there were 6 bills inside. The 6th one had something written on it, in perfect cursive. You're hired. That was 3 days ago. Dot, since then, my delivery app hasn't worked. Dot, not the normal one anyway. Now I only get one kind of ping. No restaurants. No addresses. No food. Dot, just a name. Her. Dot, and every time I check the tip section, it just says, prepaid in full. I don't know what I delivered. I don't know what she took. But sometimes when I pass mirrors now, I don't recognize my own face. And worse, sometimes it recognizes me first. The first red flag was that the building only had 8 units. I circled twice to be sure, once by car, once on foot. 1A through 4B, 8 apartments. Even numbers on the right, odds on the left. No 9A, number 9B, just an empty spot at the end of the hall where the paint changed slightly. Like a door used to be there but got sealed over, but the order clearly said, apartment 9B, do not knock. Leave at door. No contact. Generous tip, weird. But not enough to walk away. Not when rent was late and I'd already driven 30 minutes into a sketchy side of town for this drop. Dot, so I did what I always do. Followed the instructions and tried not to overthink it. I stood in the hallway for a moment, bag in hand, trying to decide where to leave it. There was a patch of wall where the numbering skipped, like something had been scraped off. No doormat. No doorbell. Dot, just a blank wall with a faint rectangular outline. If you looked at it from the right angle. I placed the bag on the floor in front of it. Snapped the photo. Marked it delivered. That's when my phone buzzed. You're early. Wait, it wasn't a normal app message. Not like the default DoorDash alerts. No tone. No sound. Just plain white text across my lock screen. You're early. Wait. I backed away slowly. Tried to open the stairwell door. It was locked. So was the elevator. Hadn't even noticed the click of them locking behind me. The hallway got quiet. Too quiet. Like the air was pressing in. Like the soundproofing was cranked up and I'd been placed inside a sealed jar. Then I heard it. A faint creak. Directly in front of me. The wall. The one with no door. The one I'd just left the bag in front of. It opened. I don't mean a secret panel or some hidden doorway. The wall peeled. Like old wallpaper lifting at the edges, slowly revealing a door behind it that same size as the other apartments. Old brass knob. No peephole. No unit number. Then the knob turned. I was frozen. Part of me was ready to bolt. The other part, the dumber part, convinced this was just some exclusive, weird tenant with too much money and no social skills. The door opened just a crack. A woman peeked out. Late 30s, maybe 40s, short black hair, pale skin, eyes a little too wide, but it was her smile that got me. She held it too long, like she'd been practicing it in the mirror, but never quite got it right. "You're early," she said, voice soft but clipped. "Come in." I'm just a delivery driver," I stammered. "It says contactless." "I know," she said. "But they always say that." "Come in." She reached out and grabbed the bag, but instead of taking it into the apartment, she set it just inside the threshold and motioned again. "I can't come in," I said. "Company rules." "You already have," she replied. And then I realized the hallway behind me had changed. Turned around and nearly lost my balance. The lights were flickering. The floor looked longer, stretched out like a funhouse mirror, the exit signs warping at the ends, and the elevator? Gone, just a smooth wall with no seams. I turned back to the woman, but she was gone, too. Door wide open, the bag still sitting just inside, and beyond that? Darkness, not pitch black, but enough shadow that I couldn't see where the entryway ended. Something told me I wouldn't be getting out until I went in. I stepped inside. The door clicked shut behind me. Immediately. Everything felt off. The air was too still. The floor too soft. It was like walking on carpet laid over water, spongy, uncertain. The hallway narrowed quickly, leading to a small living space. Everything was outdated. Dusty wallpaper. A tube TV. Furniture covered in plastic. But everything was clean. Like no one lived here, but someone made sure it looked like they did. The food bag sat on the coffee table, still sealed. The woman stood in the kitchen, slicing something on a wooden board, except she wasn't slicing food. She was slicing a photograph. Carefully, methodically, one sliver at a time. It looked like an old Polaroid. I couldn't see the face, but I could see a red shirt. Just like the one I was wearing. She looked up. "You came earlier this time," she said. "That's new." I took a step back. "What is this? What is this place?" She tilted her head. "They told me you'd ask that eventually." "Who?" Her eyes went glassy. She started to speak, then stopped. Instead, she picked up the photo and handed it to me. It was me. Standing in this exact room, holding the same bag of food. Only the expression on my face was wrong. Blank, like I'd already given up. I turned and ran for the door. It opened, easily. I bolted into the hallway. But it wasn't the same building anymore. The hallway was now curved, long, lit by a single, swinging bulb overhead. And in the distance, I could hear footsteps, not running, just pacing. Slow, measured, like someone on a loop. I turned back, planning to re-enter the apartment, but the door was gone. Just a smooth stretch of wall. The door was gone. I stood in front of smooth, painted wall where the entrance to 9B had been seconds ago. No seams. No knob. Nothing but the faint smell of lavender and hot plastic. Behind me, the hallway curved deeper, swallowing itself in impossible geometry. The kind that makes your eyes twitch like your brain knows the angles are wrong but can't figure out how. The pacing footsteps echoed from somewhere ahead, steady, predictable. But the moment I took a step forward, they stopped. And then they mirrored mine. Every footfall I made echoed back. Same pace, same rhythm, but one beat behind, like someone was following me, mimicking me. Right behind the next bend, I turned the corner fast. Nothing there. Just another stretch of hallway with peeling wallpaper and flickering lights. But now, the mirrors had started. First one, then three, then a full line of warped glass on both sides of the corridor. They didn't reflect me correctly. Some were delayed. Some showed me still holding the food bag. One showed me standing still while my reflection walked away. Another showed the woman standing behind me. Even though I was alone, I kept walking. Had no choice. The hallway didn't fork. No stairs, no elevator. Just forward or nowhere. Eventually, I reached a door. Apartment 9B. Same brass knob. Same white paint. Same scuffed floor beneath it. I didn't trust it. I stood there frozen, waiting for something to happen. Then my phone buzzed. I pulled it from my pocket. New message. No sender. This time, don't leave. I looked up, and the door was open again. Inside, the apartment was different. Modern now. Granite counters. Hardwood floors. Big windows looking out into black. Nothingness. It felt like a showroom. Staged. and the food bag was on the table. Open. Sitting next to it was another phone. Identical to mine. I picked it up. The screen was already unlocked. A video was paused. I hit play. It was me, again. Sitting at the table, talking to the woman. But in the video, I was crying. Muttering the same sentence over and over. I never left. I never left. I never. The video cut out. I turned, and she was there. Standing in the doorway to the bedroom. Same two wide eyes. Same plastic smile. She stepped forward, holding something behind her back. You always leave too soon, she said. That's why you never get out. I backed away. What is this place? I asked. Why me? You delivered here, she said, like it was obvious. You stepped inside. That's all it takes? She tilted her head. You're already part of it. You just don't remember the other times. She held out the object behind her back. It was my jacket. Same one I was wearing, only older, faded, ripped at the sleeve. I looked down at myself. Still wearing mine, but hers looked worn down. Like it had been here. For a long time, there was a name tag clipped to it. Mine. Only the photo was wrong. The me in the picture looked hollow. Eyes sunken. Skin gray. Smile forced. Like I'd been delivering here for years. I don't want to stay, I said. Voice shaking, she nodded slowly. You never do. Then she reached out and touched my forehead, and I remembered. Flashes blinding. Delivering to the same hallway. The door opening. Stepping inside. Over and over and over. Sometimes it was her. Sometimes someone else. But always 9B. Always a door that didn't exist. Always the same bag of food and me. Accepting something I never understood and always forgetting by the next time. I staggered back, gasping. No, this isn't real. But she was already walking away. Back into the bedroom. Next time, she called over her shoulder. Maybe try knocking. I bolted for the front door. This time it opened. The hallway was normal again. 8 apartments. Wooden doors. Exit signs glowing. I ran down the stairs 2 at a time and burst out into the parking lot. Rain. Street noise. My car exactly where I left it. I jumped in, started the engine, peeled away from the building like it was on fire. Didn't stop until I hit a crowded gas station 5 miles away. I deleted the app. Wiped my account. Told myself I imagined the whole thing. But deep down, I knew IDN single quotes D dot, because in my back seat, lying neatly folded, was the same worn jacket dot mine, with the same name tag and tucked into the pocket, was a receipt from apartment 9B dot tip, memory. Note, see you again. I didn't notice anything wrong with the order until I heard something move in the bag. It was barely a sound, just a soft rustle, like a plastic container shifting, but it was enough to make me glance over. The delivery was from a vegan spot downtown. Light stuff. Salad bowls, pressed juice. So the bag wasn't heavy. Definitely not heavy enough for what I felt in the seat next to me. It shifted again. Not slid, shifted, like something inside it rolled. I pulled over, parked in front of some random office building, flipped on the dome light, and opened the bag. And that's when I saw it. Tucked between the juice bottles and compostable to-go boxes was a wrapped bundle. Not paper, not foil, cloth, soft, off-white, stained at the edges. It was warm, and it was breathing. I pulled it out carefully, my brain already racing. It was wrapped tight. Whatever was inside was small, about the size of a loaf of bread. No bigger than a cat. Then it moved. Twitched. A little muffled cry came from inside. Not loud, but human. I froze. My hands went ice cold. I unwrapped the bundle just enough to see the edge of a tiny face. Pale, eyes shut, lips trembling. A baby. I sat there for at least a full minute, heart pounding, trying to process what I was seeing. This wasn't some weird doll. Not a prank. This baby was real, alive, breathing, and had been writing in the bag with someone's goddamn lunch order. I immediately checked the receipt again. Pickup, Lotus Leaf Vegan. Drop off, 1427 Fallow Street. Customer name, PRVATE. Instructions: leave on doorstep. Do not knock. Do not call. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to call the cops. But what would I say? Hi, I found a human infant in a DoorDash bag next to a kale wrap. Would they believe me? I looked around the parking lot. Totally empty. No cameras. No people. It was 10:42 p.m. Too late for any store or restaurant to still be open nearby. Too late for anyone to help. I wrapped the baby back up gently. Tried to keep them warm, and that's when I saw it. On the inside of the cloth, written in red marker, were the words, "Do not open." I stared at it like it might change, like the letters would rearrange into something else. But they stayed the same, crude, all caps. Smeared slightly like someone wrote them in a rush. Who would wrap a baby like this? Who would send it somewhere? And worse, who would receive it? I sat for another 10 minutes, torn between the cops and the hospital. But then my phone buzzed. New message. From a number I didn't recognize. Please deliver the order. It's not yours. I dropped the phone, hands shaking. Checked the number again. No contact. Just unknown. The message had already disappeared. I looked in the mirror, and for a second, I swore I saw someone standing behind my car. Just a faint shape in the rain. But when I turned to look, gone. I made a decision. I wasn't keeping this thing. Wasn't taking it home. Wasn't playing God with someone else's insane ritual or trafficking plot or whatever the hell this was. I was going to finish the delivery, but I was going to stay and make sure someone actually answered the door. If no one did, I'd call the cops and let them deal with it. I drove to Fallow Street like I was headed into a nightmare. Every streetlight flickered. Every passing car felt like it was slowing down. Even the GPS glitched a few times, rerouting me in circles until I realized the street wasn't showing up on the map at all. Eventually, I found the house. Small, crooked, like it had sunken slightly into the dirt over time. No lights, no cars, no sign of life, but the porch light was on. I stepped out of the car slowly, baby bundle in hand, rain soaking through my hoodie. Walked to the porch, and that's when I saw it. Another bag sitting by the door. Identical to mine. Same restaurant, but this one looked old. Like it had been sitting there for days. Maybe longer. The paper was sagging. The juice inside had turned dark. And there was a bundle in that bag too, wrapped just like mine. Nearly threw up. This had happened before. Someone else had delivered a baby to this house, and it was never picked up. I backed away fast. Bundle still in my arms. That's when I saw the curtain move. Just a little. Just enough for someone to peek. A sliver of pale skin. An eye, watching. Then gone. The porch light blinked. Then turned off. My phone buzzed again. Another message. You're not supposed to see that. And underneath it, put it down. Walk away, no refunds. The message sat on my screen like a threat. Put it down. Walk away. No refunds. I couldn't move. The bundle in my arms was warm and still breathing. I could feel the weight of its tiny chest rising against mine. But now that I knew another one had been left here, left to rot, I wasn't just scared, I was furious. I looked back at the house. No movement. I took the baby back to the car. Locked the doors. Called 911. Put the phone on speaker. Rang once. Then twice. Then went to static. My screen blinked and REBOOTE. No service. No emergency call option. Just a blank home screen and a new message already waiting. This is not a police matter. I screamed at the phone. Slammed it against the seat. Tried to start the car, but it stalled twice. Then the check engine light blinked, and the dashboard went completely black. My car was dead, stranded in front of a house that accepted infants like takeout orders. I needed help. Any help. I looked up the nearest hospital. Couldn't get GPS. Tried walking 2 blocks thinking maybe I'd find another house. A person. Anyone. But the street just looped. Fallow Street curved back into itself, like a track that reset every quarter mile. No other homes. No other lights. I was trapped here. And then, the crying started. Soft at first. From the bundle in my arms, I pulled back the cloth to check the baby's face and froze. Its eyes were open, but not fully. Just barely slitted, like the skin didn't quite want to peel apart. Its mouth was open too. But something was off. The lips didn't move right. Like they were painted on. And when I brushed my finger gently against its cheek, the skin peeled. Not like a scrape. Like latex. Thin, rubber-like. And underneath? More fabric. Not muscle. Not bone. Just endless layers of cloth, tightly wrapped. I started unwrapping, fast, heart in my throat. Layer after layer of soft, warm fabric. All slightly damp. Until, finally, I hit the center, and what I saw there wasn't a baby. It was teeth, a mouth, small, sewn shut with black thread. No jaw, just a circle of human teeth embedded in cloth. Like someone had stitched a bite into the center of a doll. I dropped it. Nearly screamed. But it landed soft on the passenger seat and started twitching. The thread pulled tight. The teeth clicked, like it was trying to chew its way free. I ran. Back to the house, pounded on the door now. I didn't care. Whoever was inside, I needed answers. But no one answered. Instead, the door opened slowly on its own. The same hallway I'd seen before in dozens of deliveries. Dim, long wallpaper peeling. Except this time, I stepped inside because I needed to know what this was. Why I was the one delivering it. Why I was chosen. The hallway led to a kitchen, old tile, broken faucet, and a long table with more bundles. At least 6 of them. All wrapped just like mine. All moving slightly. Some whimpering. And standing at the far end of the kitchen was a man. Tall, pale, wearing a red delivery jacket just like mine. He didn't look up. Just kept sorting the bundles like someone handling fruit at a grocery store. He picked one up, turned it over. Checked the writing. Defective. He muttered, then tossed it into a bin beside him. A plastic storage bin filled with used cloth. And blood. I stepped back. The floor creaked. He looked up. For a long second, we just stared at each other. Then he said, "Did you unwrap it?" My mouth was dry. I couldn't answer. His face tightened. "You unwrapped it, didn't you?" I nodded, barely. He sighed. "You weren't supposed to see. Now she have to reset the loop." "Who?" I asked. He pointed behind me. I turned and the woman was standing there. Same red apron. Same warm smile. But now I could see what was behind her eyes. Nothing. No depth. No light. Just the cold glow of something mechanical pretending to be human. "You weren't supposed to look," she said softly. Then held out a phone, my phone, and showed me the original order screen. Only now. The delivery wasn't to this address. It was from it. Pickup. Fallow Street drop-off. U-tip. Knowledge. Time remaining. 0 o'clock. I didn't get to move. She reached out and touched my forehead. And the world flickered. I woke up back in my car. It was morning. Sunlight pouring through the windshield. My phone was buzzing. New order. Same vegan place. Same customer. Same instructions. But this time, the bag was already in the passenger seat. I looked inside. The bundle was warm, and this time, I didn't open it. The note on the order said, "Don't knock. She can't hear you." I almost didn't think twice about it. I've had plenty of deliveries for hearing-impaired customers. Usually, they just ask for a text when the food's outside or leave it at the door. But this one was different. For starters, the house was too quiet. Not just inside. The whole street. No dogs barking. No kids. No distant TVs or music bleeding through the walls. It was like someone had vacuumed all the noise out of the neighborhood. I stepped out of my car, takeout bag in hand, and the silence hit me hard. I swear I could hear my own blood pumping behind my ears. It was 10:26 p.m. dark, cold, one porch light flickering 3 houses down. But this place 1220 Abbott Lane had no lights on at all. Just a dim blue glow from somewhere deeper inside the house. I walked up the steps and stood in front of the door. Simple, white, a brass handle, slightly tarnished. No doorbell. No peephole. Just a small black rectangle stuck where the peephole might have been, like someone covered it up. I placed the bag gently on the doormat and turned to walk away. Then I saw the text. Not on my phone. On the door. Etched into the paint. Barely visible unless the porch light hit it just right. "Don't knock. She can't hear you. But she knows when you do." I backed up instinctively. That wasn't part of the app instructions. I pulled out my phone. Checked the delivery note again. The part the customer typed. Still just the original message. "Don't knock. She can't hear you." No creepy follow-up. No warning. Which meant someone physically scratched that message into the wood. And from the look of it, they did it fast. Like they were desperate. Maybe using a key. The lines were frantic, crooked. I didn't know what to make of it. But I wasn't knocking. That's for sure. I snapped the photo. Hit mark delivered. Turned to leave, then the door opened. Only about an inch. Just enough to creak on its hinges. No one visible behind it. Just that blue glow from deeper inside. The kind of glow you get from an old CRT television left on a blank channel. I froze. Waited. Nothing. Then, a whisper. "Is that for me?" It didn't sound close. Didn't even sound like it came from the doorway. It felt like it came from all around me. Like the house itself asked the question. I cleared my throat. "Yeah," I said. "Order for..." That's all the app said. Just the letter. The door opened another inch. I leaned forward slightly, trying to see inside, and I saw a hand. Not reaching. Not threatening. Just resting on the floorboards, palm up. Pale. Small. Still, I didn't know what to do. The hand didn't move, then it twitched once, like it was gesturing me closer. I took a breath, set the bag just inside the threshold, careful not to step over it. I'm just gonna leave it here, okay? I said. The hand didn't respond. The whisper didn't return. I slowly stood up and backed away. But I made a mistake, out of habit. My knuckles brushed the side of the door as I steadied myself. Tap. Just once, barely audible, but the effect was immediate. Hand snapped back inside, the blue light cut out, and a new sound rose up from somewhere deep below the floorboards, a groaning. Not human, not mechanical. It sounded like a house sighing, like something underneath had just woken up. And then I heard it. Footsteps, not upstairs. Not in the hallway, inside the walls. The footsteps inside the walls were fast. Too fast, thudding up the frame behind the door, across the ceiling joists, down through the floor again, like a giant centipede made of hands and feet was crawling through the bones of the house. I backed down the porch stairs, breath caught in my throat. Then everything stopped. No lights. No sounds. Just the open door, stuck slightly ajar. And that silence again. But it wasn't empty silence anymore. It felt crowded. Like the air had weight now. Like someone or something was waiting. Then I heard it again. Second voice. Not a whisper this time. Something deeper, rougher, close to the ground. It said, "She heard you." I turned and ran back to the car, slammed the door, locked it, and fumbled to start the engine. It didn't start. Of course it didn't. My headlights flicked, then cut out. The only light left was the blue glow inside the house, flickering again now like static on a dying TV. Then I saw her. Standing in the doorway. Bare feet, long gray nightgown, head slightly tilted. Her face was covered in a thin black veil, like a mourning widow's, but I could see her mouth moving beneath it, slightly open, twitching, smiling without smiling. And even from inside the car, I could see something dripping from her fingers. They hung at her sides, twitching every few seconds like they were trying to feel sound. Then she stepped onto the porch. Her movements weren't normal, not floating, not jerky, but timed, like she was walking to a beat only she could hear. One step every 5 seconds. Another step, and another. I stayed still, didn't breathe. And then she stopped, halfway down the porch stairs, just standing there. Listening. I swear she could feel me breathing. I watched as her head slowly turned toward the car. Not directly at me, but close. She reached one hand up, not toward the car, but toward the air, like she was feeling for vibrations. And then she moved her hand in a knocking motion. Twice. Knocking touched the car, but I felt it in my bones. And the message was clear. You knocked. Now it's my turn. I don't remember starting the car. I don't even remember turning the key, but the engine roared to life. And I peeled out of that street like the devil was in my back seat. Didn't stop until I crossed the bridge out of town and hit 3 full bars of signal. Only then did I check the app again. Order marked unrated. Customer tip. No knock bonus. But the app had changed something. Now, under delivery history, the name wasn't M anymore. It said, delivered to the quiet one. That night, I lay awake for hours, every creak of my apartment making my stomach drop. I live on the 5th floor. No one above me. But around 3:11 a.m., I heard it anyway. Knock. Knock, right above my ceiling. Slow, measured, and I swear, I felt the dust drift down. I've moved twice since then, changed apps, changed phones, but she still finds me. Every few weeks, I'll get a strange note on a new order. Don't knock. She can't hear you. Be silent or be seen. And sometimes, when I pass an old CRT TV or an empty doorway, I feel a beat and a shadow keeping time. The moment I accepted the order, the app said special location, 2 a.m. drop off, and I knew I shouldn't have gone. But the payout was insane. Almost double what I'd expect for a late night route. And the address? Well, Evergreen Funeral Home. Yes, a funeral home. Late at night. Close for years. It was 12:07 a.m. when I pulled up. The building is old, gray stone, pillars half crumbling, windows dark and empty. The sign above the door, Evergreen Funeral Home, was flickering, only one illuminated. The gate in front was padlocked. Scratched rust all around it. I double-checked the order. Leave items in the vestibule, locked access after. No contact. Under special instructions, past midnight only. Use side door. I felt a pull in my gut, the kind of nope that smacks you in the chest. But I needed the money. Rent was due. Car payments looming. So I shrugged it off. Parked outside the gate. Headlights illuminated the lawn. Dead grass, broken flower beds, a statue of an angel with no face. I grabbed the food bag from my trunk, 2 combo meals, a pitcher of iced tea, some extra sides. I'd even tossed in a water bottle. The bag looked silly in that setting. I clicked the indicator, picked up, coordinated the drop, waited until the 12:10 mark. Then I pushed the gate open. It creaked insanely loud. Walked up the cracked walkway, footsteps echoing. The air was cold. Even though the night was mild, inside the grounds, it felt like the temperature dropped 5 degrees. At the side, I found the door. Paint peeling, wood warped. It had no sign, no light. I tapped the keypad, entered the code from the app. It beeped, light switched green. Door swung open. The vestibule was dark. Smelled of old flowers and disinfectant memory of death. There was a table in the middle, old and wooden. I placed the bag. Marked delivered on the app. And left. Except I didn't leave. I turned around to walk back and the door slammed behind me. Locking itself. The order came in at 11:41 p.m., right as I was about to clock out. I had one foot in my apartment, the other still in the parking lot when my phone buzzed. New order pickup. Lucky Dragon Walk drop-off. Evergreen Funeral. Home tip, $85, cash, special instructions included. My thumb hovered over decline, but rent was late. Phone bill past due. And if I skipped one more payment on my used Honda, they'd probably tow it in my sleep. Evergreen Funeral. Home. That name hit me weird. Not because I'd been there. I hadn't, but because I'd heard rumors. Old Reddit threads. Creepypasta. Urban legends. The place was shut down 10 years ago. Family run for generations until something happened. No one ever said what. Some said it was fire damage. Others whispered about a body being misplaced. Or found where it shouldn't be. But nothing official. I Googled it on the way to the pickup spot. Found a Yelp page. Last review, 2012, 1 star. I probably should have turned back then. But I didn't. 12:05 a.m. I reached. The location. The building stood at the edge of a desolate stretch of road on the north side of town. No streetlights. No neighbors. Just trees and that decaying gray building, stone front. Gothic-style architecture, windows like black eyes watching me. There was a locked black gate out front with a rusted latch. I checked the order again. There were special instructions. I opened the message. Use side entrance. Keypad code, 1771. Do not use front door. Leave bag inside vestibule. Do not knock. No contact requested. Vestibule. Who the hell uses that word? But okay, I parked across the street. Grabbed the insulated food bag from my back seat. 2 heavy containers. Some drinks and a smaller white box labeled private in red. Sharpie. I didn't pack that one. I assumed it was. Special order from the restaurant. Didn't. The gate creaked open louder than any gate has a right to. Dry metal scraping against itself. I paused, looking around, waiting to see if anyone peered out from a window. No one did. I followed the path around the side of the building. The grass was dry and yellow, like it hadn't been watered in a decade. Halfway around, I saw the door. Old wood. Green paint chipping off. No handle, just the keypad mounted to the side. I punched in the code, 1771. The keypad beeped. A quiet click. The door opened an inch on its own. I pushed it the rest of the way. Inside, the vestibule was small. Smelled like dust and old lily. I saw the table. Ancient oak, claw-footed, polished recently. There was a faint buzzing sound coming from deeper in the building. A low electrical hum. No lights were on beyond the foyer. Just a faint glow from the cracked glass of a wall sconce. I set the bag down, turned around, and the door slammed shut behind me. No breeze. No wind, no delay, just bam. Door closed like it had been waiting. I lunged back for it. Turned the knob. Nothing. It was locked again. I checked the keypad. Dead. No lights. No beeping. Just a cold metal panel. I pounded once, twice. Hello? No answer. I fumbled for my phone. No signal. Of course. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my brain from spinning out. I hadn't gone more than 10 feet into the building. I could wait. Someone had to open the door eventually. They asked for the food, right? And if not, I'd kick the door open. No big deal. I turned back toward the table. And the white box was gone. I blinked. Looked around. Lifted the bag, thinking maybe it slid underneath. Nothing. Then I heard a sound. A drawer. Opening. Somewhere deeper in the house. Not the vestibule. Farther back, I froze. The food bag was still there, containers intact. Just the white box missing. And the buzzing sound? Louder now. No longer electrical. It sounded more like flies. I didn't want to go in farther, but the door behind me was locked. My phone was useless. And if someone had taken the box, the private box, maybe they were coming back with a key. So I stepped toward the hallway. The buzzing stopped. The funeral home. Wasn't what I expected. It was too clean. Old, sure, but not dusty. The wallpaper was intact. The air smelled like lemon and formaldehyde. I passed a wall lined with faded photos. Old black and white portraits in gold frames. None of the people smiled. The farther I walked, the quieter the world felt. No creaks, no pipes. Like the building had been dipped in glue. Then I reached the viewing room and stopped cold. The box was there, sitting on a closed casket, just placed there. Like someone had delivered it with reverence. The room was dim, lit only by a single chandelier above, its bulbs flickering weakly. There were chairs set up, rows of them, as if a service had just ended. But no one was here. No voices. No movement. And yet, I swear to you, the casket was humming. I took one cautious step inside. The floor didn't creak. The air grew colder. And then something behind me whispered, "You're early." I spun around. No one. The door was still. Open. Just the same hallway behind me, but the air had changed. Thicker, like breathing through gauze. I backed up slowly, toward the casket, eyes scanning every corner, and that's when I saw the second box. Not on the casket. Under it, half hidden beneath the fabric skirt. It looked identical to the one I delivered. Same size. Same handwriting. Same red Sharpie, private. But this one was rotting. The edges were soaked. Dark fluid dripping out onto the floor. The smell, heavy and sweet and wrong, hit me like a slap. I turned to leave, to run, but stopped when I saw something in the front row of chairs. A woman, sitting silently. I don't know how I missed her. She wasn't there before. I'm sure of it. She was wearing black. Lace gloves. Thin veil over her face. and she was holding the box. The original one. The one I'd just delivered. She looked up at me, and for a moment, I could see her face through the veil. It looked like mine. Asterisk. The woman in the veil didn't move. Didn't blink. Just sat there. Front row. Middle seat. Gently cradling the white box I delivered minutes ago. I should have said something. Should have asked who she was, what was happening, why she looked like me through the lace. But my throat locked. My feet backed up on their own. And the moment I stepped out of the viewing room, the air shifted, like I'd walked through an invisible wall. Everything behind me went silent. No humming. No lights. I turned around. The room was gone, not just empty. Gone, where the double doors had been. There was now a plain, blank wall. No seams. No trim. Just cold plaster. My heart jumped into my throat. I ran back down the hallway, or I tried to, but it didn't lead back to the vestibule. It twisted. Turned. The halls looped in impossible ways, like the funeral home had rewritten its floor plan the second I stepped through that first door. After maybe 10 minutes of walking in tight circles, I ended up in front of a new door I hadn't seen before. Small, metal, cold to the touch. A placard above it read, "Prep room, staff only." A sick feeling crawled into my stomach. I didn't want to go in there, but there was nowhere else to go. The room was frigid. Bright fluorescent lights hummed overhead, flickering slightly. It was spotless. Stainless steel tables, drainage grates in the floor, tall cabinets lining one side. A large whiteboard on the far wall read, "Tuesday intakes, 2. But both names had been erased. In the center of the room sat a gurney, covered with a thick white sheet. I didn't want to look, but I did. I stepped forward and pulled the sheet back. What I saw shouldn't have been possible. It was me. My own face, my own arms, same jacket, same shoes. Just pale. Lips blue, eyes closed. And on the left foot, tied to the toe, was a tag that read, "Delivered." I stumbled back, hit a table hard enough to knock over a tray of metal tools. They scattered across the floor with sharp, echoing clangs. That's when the lights flickered. Once, twice, and then turned red. The floor beneath me vibrated slightly, like something was moving through the foundation. Not a machine, not plumbing, something living. I tried the door. Locked. I turned back to the body. Still there. Still me, only now. Its eyes were opened. My reflection stared at me. Blank, empty, but following me as I moved. I stepped left. It followed. Right, still locked on. Then it smiled and whispered with my own voice, "Late." I don't remember leaving the prep room. I don't remember unlocking the door or finding the hallway again. Just remember the next place I ended up, a chapel. Rows of pews, dusty and warped. Stained glass windows cracked and dark. An altar covered in faded silk cloth. No crosses. No Bibles, but every wall had mirrors. Dozens of them. All mismatched, some old, some new, arranged in strange groupings like they'd been collected over decades. And in every mirror, I wasn't alone. Behind me in the reflection were figures. Pale, thin, wearing black. They stood silently in the rows of pews, heads tilted, watching me. But when I turned around, the room was empty. I looked back in the mirrors. They were still there. Some had their hands pressed to the glass. Others held boxes, each labeled private, written in red Sharpie. And all of them were me. I backed toward the altar. Every mirror I passed, more versions of me appeared. Some crying, some shaking. One laughing silently, mouth open too wide. Then the lights flickered again. A tone rang out through hidden speakers. A flat, cold chime, like a call bell in a hospital. 3 notes. Ding. Ding, ding. And then a voice came over the speaker system. Old. Calm. Female. Please proceed to viewing room 2. The recipient is waiting. I turned to leave. I'd had enough, but now all the exits were mirrored. No doors. Just walls of glass. And behind every pane, I could see myself delivering, over and over, handing the white box to veiled women, leaving it on caskets, sliding it through morgue drawers, endless versions of the same job. Same bag, same box, same end. Until finally, in the farthest mirror, I saw myself refuse. That version of me shook his head, turned to walk away, and behind him, something grabbed him from the dark. I don't know how long I stood there, long enough that the lights began to fade, one by one. Until the only thing left was my reflection, not multiples, just one. And he looked tired. Older. Eyes sunken. He raised one hand and pointed behind me. I turned, and there was a single white door, asterisk. I stood in front of the white door for what felt like an hour. No noise, no hums, just the soft, vibrating tension in the air, like the moment before thunder cracks. I reached for the handle. It was warm, like someone had just used it. The door opened into a long corridor, lined with candles on both sides, flickering low. The floor was black stone, the walls concrete, damp. And at the far end, I saw a table. Just like the one in the vestibule. On it sat a white box, identical to the one I brought. And standing next to it was the veiled woman. She had her back to me, but I recognized her immediately. That posture, still, tall, silent. I walked slowly, every footstep echoing longer than it should have. I tried to speak, my voice caught in my throat. When I got close enough to see the table, I realized something. There were two boxes. One sealed, one open. The open one had my name written in red Sharpie across the top, and inside was my phone. I picked it up. Battery at 1%. No signal, one notification, order delivered. Thank you for your service. Underneath it, a signed, permanent route. I looked at her. Who are you? I asked. She turned, and for the first time, she pulled back the veil. It was me. Not just similar, exact. Same eyes, same face, same tear in the corner of my jacket, but her expression was calm, serene. You delivered yourself, she said. Her voice was mine, but you were always meant to. I stepped back, knocking over one of the candles. She didn't move. I tried to open the box again, the sealed one. It wouldn't budge. She stepped beside me, resting a hand on it. This one's not for you, she said. It's for the next. The next what? I whispered. She smiled gently. The next you. Suddenly, I was back in the vestibule. Just standing there, like nothing happened. Door behind me, table in front, bag still sealed, app still open. I looked down. There was a new order. Pickup, evergreen drop-off, unknown tip, non-monetary notes, do not knock, leave quietly, do not return. And a final message burned into the screen. Welcome to the route. I tried to exit the app. I tried to close the phone, pull the battery, smash it. Nothing worked. Every screen, every notification, every alert just rerouted me back to the same loop. Same order, same address, same box. I walked back outside into the cold. Same fog. Same dead street. And in the distance, headlights. A car was pulling up, slow, hesitant, familiar. And when it stopped at the curb, I saw the driver. He looked just like me. Younger. Eyes wide, just starting. He rolled down the window and said, "Hey, I got a weird order here. Funeral home, midnight. I think I'm at the wrong place." I smiled, gently handed him the bag and said, "No, you're right on time."